It is being called the saddest Disney animated film of all time. And there's a big problem with that. This is not a film that is intended to be sad. It's not the next Old Yeller. No, instead, this is a film that yells out to the world that Walt Disney has lost the magic. Wish is now, potentially, the second major November bomb at the box office for Disney, following the Marvels, of course. It has many wondering, is this a company, is this a Disney in utter disarray? Critics are confounded. The audiences largely have left. And now we're all wondering, is the 100th anniversary of Disney the beginning of the end? Hello folks, welcome back to the channel where we endeavor to explain entertainment, keep you ahead of the culture curve. We would love to see Disney do well to put out excellent content once more, timeless classics that enchant and enthrall the masses. However, it does not appear that Wish is going to do that. And in fact, folks, we're here to tell you that this could be actually worse than the Marvels. I know, it's hard to believe, but lest you think that I have went off the deep end, let me remind you that Alan Ng of Film Threat has actually reviewed this film and has declared that Wish made him more sad and more disappointed than any animated Disney film he has ever seen. And yes, he has seen Strange World. This is an abomination. Let's talk about it and what's going to happen at the box office right now, starting out with an article from World of Real by Jordan Ruemy. Disney's Wish stumbles with critics. Could be another bomb. Disney is in even more trouble this month. They might have another box office bomb on their hands. Their Marvel and animation movies are in disarray at the box office. Let's stop there, folks. Let's remind everyone out there, too, there's no Star Wars. Marvel's in disarray. The animated movies are struggling majorly. Loss after loss after loss. Star Wars is so bad they can't even put it out in theaters. The author continues, I'm starting to wonder if Bob Iger has any regrets in deciding to come back to steer this sinking ship. There will be a lot of tough decisions to be made in the coming weeks. One of the fascinating things, folks, is that I have no objection to what's being written here, but I do want to say that this company is not going to function like a normal company would. We've seen this time and time again. You would think that they would retract. However, probably what's going to happen at this point, they're not going to learn the lesson because there is no lesson to be learned because they're in the midst of a dueling proxy fight right now. We've got investors from the conservative side of the Western world versus those on the leftist side. The conservatives are represented by Nelson Peltz and the Tryon Group. The leftists are represented by Mr. Morfitt and his Value Act group. And those stocks are being bought up in mass because we're about to have a big battle over the direction of the Walt Disney Company going forward. And that means the stock's not going to react as you would normally expect. But let me tell you, when your three big tent poles at the box office are failing and the fourth tent pole can't even come out, what are we talking about? We're talking about Marvel, animation. We're talking about original Disney movies. Well, they're just non-existent. And Star Wars can't come out on theaters, period. Yet, we are not going to see the typical response that you would expect to see out of investors because of that very peculiar situation that we're discussing. There's a big battle. This goes way beyond your typical corporate struggles. This gets right down to the heart of people in the highest levels wanting to battle out for the future of Disney and for content that'll be aimed at children. Let's keep reading this article, though. Take, for example, Disney's latest animated film, Wish, which is being panned by critics. How bad is it? Well, let's tell you, folks. The review embargo has lifted, and it currently stands at a 53 on Metacritic. This is supposed to be their big animated offering this holiday season. The three-day box office forecast for Wish currently stands at around $40 million. In other words, yes, folks, we said it here on the channel. We're going to say it again. We have been consistent. We've been telling you this. Despite the crazy articles that have said that Wish was going to break animated records. The truth is, this film is going to come in almost certainly under the Marvels. And we're here to tell you the budget is not that far off. $200 million in production budgets believed to have been spent on Wish at minimum. And the marketing has been intense as they do everything they can to salvage this November. That means, folks, that if Wish comes out under the Marvels, and if we have been declaring that the Marvels is a disaster, it's a Disney disaster at the box office, then how could we not say something even worse about Wish? Of course, this recognizes that it cost $200 million to produce at minimum. That's another ridiculously high budget for a Disney movie. How is it that other studios can make movies like The Minions for $100 million, for half, and Disney cannot seem to do so? While we're at it, The Marvels is turning into a box office bomb with a reported cost of $275 million. We think it's closer to $283. It has only made $54 million in 7 days. How bad is that, folks? Well, let me tell you. That means that it has made less than The Flash. And that, we're talking about The Flash in its first 3 days. That's right, The Flash made more in its first weekend than The Marvels made in an entire first week. And it's looking very weak, projected to have a 65% drop in the second weekend from a number that was already incredibly low. Disney is at a crucial point right now in its history. It just celebrated its 100th year of existence. There have been many highs and lows during the time span, but this is a very unique situation for them. Absolutely everything they touch is failing. Congratulations, Jordan Ruami. You are on the money. Let's go to a website that covers money, CNBC. Alex Sherman. We love Alex Sherman. Alex Sherman is so good at what he does. Disney's box office problems ramp up pressure on CEO Bob Iger and studio chief Alan Bergman. Disney CEO Bob Iger acknowledged last week that Disney's films since the end of the pandemic haven't met quality standards. Disney hasn't reported positive operating income in its content sales and licensing and other business unit, which includes theatrical since the quarter that ended April 2nd, 2022. In 24, Disney will release Marvel's Deadpool 3, Pixar's Inside Out 2, and Mufasa, the Lion King. Simba, Disney destroys everything it touches. That's what they should say in it. So we've got Deadpool 3. We think that'll be successful. Inside Out 2 is a tricky one because it has the brand recognition, but it's doing something very strange with one of the characters. We've talked about it. We'll talk about it more. This is not the video for it. But here's what Mr. Sherman has to say. It's rare for Disney chief executive Bob Iger to acknowledge his company has had creative missteps. So when he does, it's probably wise to pay attention. If you want to know how rare it is, he's never come out and said that Star Wars has a problem. He said there's Star Wars fatigue. Uh-oh, Bobby. There's Disney fatigue, apparently. It metastasized and made it to Marvel, and now it's all over the place. Your animated studios. Maybe instead of walking out and protesting legislation in Florida, you should have been working on producing good content, unless we blame it on the former CEO, Bob Chapek. Remember that he only had control of the company for about 6 months. And Bob Iger never left despite what you were told. He remained as a consultant the entire time. All of this has been done under the watchful eye of Bob Iger, so the idea that Bobby's going to come in and be the mouse messiah, probably not true because all this was done under him. As I've looked at our overall output, meaning the studio, it's clear that the pandemic created a lot of challenges creatively for everybody, including for us, Iger said last week. I have no idea what that means. I have no idea what the pandemic has to do with creativity. We have seen, folks, Spider-Man, No Way Home come out and do incredibly well. We have watched as other studios have had hit after hit after hit. Why is Disney the sole recipient of failure from the pandemic in terms of creativity? Well, because Bob Iger can't come out and say the ideology that I am pushing and continue to push and will continue to push has driven us down the drain, down that 2-shower-day drain. He can't say it. Iger followed his comments with a new mandate. Disney will be making fewer films. Oh, that'll work. That'll work. Stick with the same ideology and make less of it. It's a similar strategy to what Iger took when he first became Disney CEO in 2005. At the time, Disney's animation and live-action studio divisions had struggled with a string of failed movies, including The Alamo, Home on the Range, and Pooh's Heffalump movie. Poor woozles, they don't even get to be counted in that. Iger's solution then was to cut 650 jobs and slash its annual movie production output in half. Oh, I'm sure that the creatives at Disney would love that. Releasing only about only about a dozen films each year. He also acquired Pixar, giving Disney an immediate infusion of quality movies and a brand of storytelling that rubbed off on Disney's traditional animation studio. He's going to try it again in 2024, but I'm here to tell you, folks, this can't be fixed the same way, because this is being driven by an anti-meritocracy. This is being driven by postmodernist thinking. This is being driven by wokeology, by DEIESG initiatives. This is being driven by doctrine from on high, and I'm talking about Disney, not the divine. That is what is happening. This is what Bob Iger has done. Bob Iger can't fix this by reducing the amount of content that he makes. Bob Iger can only fix this if he transforms the content to being timeless. Early ticket sales suggest Wish is tracking at 55 million for Wednesday to Sunday. So, folks, that's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. 5 days. If there are previews on Tuesday, let's just call it 6. 55 million. That'll underperform the Marvels. That will underperform The Flash. And Disney will have yet another movie that is not even a flash in the pan. This is one that perhaps should have been canned. And as Alan Ng has said over on Film Threat, this may be the most painful animated film in Disney's history, because what should be a joyous celebration of 100 years of animated excellence is going to come crashing down around this company. And it could not happen to a more deserving corporation, which has elected to divorce what they produce from what the market wishes to see. And perhaps it's fitting that therefore Wish will not be watched by many. All right, folks, that's a wrap for today. If you enjoy content like this, consider clicking the like button, share, subscribe, and when you click it, you stick it to the algorithms. It's the notification bell. Drop a comment down below. Let us know how we did today. We're always attempting to explain entertainment, keep you ahead of the culture curve. You tell us, give us the grade. Did we do well? Did we not? We want to know what's on your mind. Folks, don't forget that we've got a major, huge, earth-shaking, shattering announcement coming out this Monday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. We will have a special live stream show right here on the channel covering a major transformative change for www.thatparkplace.com. You do not want to miss the announcement. We intend to transform it into being the premier pop culture news and analysis website, period. And we're going to do it Monday. Folks, wherever you are and whatever you're doing, keep learning, keep growing, eat lots of turkey real soon, and keep having fun.
Listen up, my brothers and sisters. You've been listening to Phils and those with an agenda to destroy your brain cells for far too long. It's time to change your way of doing things. Hold up. TPP is the place to be. Covering the news, so honestly, it's a team that's cool and tried and true, ahead of the culture curve they're trying to keep you. Jonas and Pro, they run the show, and they dragged in the bearded culture casino. You got Valiant and Lord and Fourth of Light. Wonderful people, yeah, they're alright. They got weird bringing in people like Floral, but made no mistake with Lorena Creole. Amelia and John, stuttering guitarist. Martin and Tawny and someone called CMS. Fat Steven makes a bunch of all the graphics. Did I mention a partnership with Bending in the comics? Fat Sky is a guy and Doc Matt does the web stuff. There's probably some people I missed. I hope they're not telling you the news. That should be fun with accurate info that's not been spun. You can figure it out as you will see. The TPP is the place to be.